Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a tragic passing in the Weenie Tech Games family. No, it isn't Frank despite Hank's best efforts. It is Hank's 7-year-old MacBook Pro that he would use for video editing whenever he needed to travel. Spam F in the chat. I don't know how it happened though. He only used it for video editing and nothing else. Anyway, this channel specializes in building ultra-budget ball and gaming PCs, and we have a rig with an RTX 4090 in it, which we use for all of our editing needs. But despite becoming the most famous PC building dog to ever live on YouTube, Hank still has a full-time job at the treats factory that requires him to travel for weeks at a time. And he also travels back to his home country of Australia for about 1 month every year, so we can't just build a small form factor PC and shove it in our bag, mate. We need to buy a new laptop for editing. But we ain't getting no MacBook Pro, mate. No, because Hank needs to grind his gaming channel so he could continue to build up sausage scammers on Car Dealer Simulator and win games of Fortnite. So for the first time ever, we are going Windows, baby. And if you're an OG on the channel, you know us, mate. We preach budget deals and gaming, but do the exact opposite when it comes to buying stuff. So we are making the worst financial decision ever and getting an RTX 5090 laptop. Now, if you have half a brain, do not follow what Hank is doing here. The 5070 Ti and 5080 are much better in terms of price to performance. For example, I've linked a video down below showing that if these laptops are used for pure gaming purposes, the RTX 5090 is only around 10 to 15% better in games compared to the RTX 5080, despite costing around 800 to 1,000 US dollary dues more. But we want the 24 gigabytes of VRAM that the RTX 5090 mobile gets for the video editing. And Hank also does some 3D rendering for his side job working at the Chimkin factory, so we are going all in on this bad boy. So I can hear you all sitting on your couch screaming, "Weenie Man, how can this dumb dog and his owner afford an RTX 5090 laptop with only 6,000 YouTube subscribers?" Well, mate, a few weeks ago, we published a video showing how we make profit off of our PC building and flipping empire. Hank has built it all himself, and we've linked that video down below, so give it a watch after this if you're interested. But we are currently sitting at around 1,100 US buccarinos in profit after getting more than 5K in debt after building our dream RTX 4090 gaming PC in Hank's dream racing simulator. But since that last update, we've built and sold around 6 gaming PCs, including our very own RTX 5080 GPU, RIP, mate. So we're going to release a video soon showing you those sales and the insane messages we get from buyers on Facebook Marketplace, mate. But thanks to those sales, it has given us the funds to overspend on a laptop like an absolute idiot. So we got to work and started watching reviews on YouTube, mate. But the problem I have with 99% of laptop reviews is that they are done by channels where companies send the laptop to the creator, so they are always pretty cookie cutter and on the safe side in terms of what they say. And since our channel is run by a loser dog, ain't no one sending his scruffy laptop, so we are using our real money to buy these things. And that's going to allow us to give the most unhinged and honest reviews possible, mate. But just keep in mind, we are no laptop expert. If you want a proper review of these laptops, see Jared's Tech. He is the GOAT and the channel we used for our research, mate. The link is down below and we love you, mate. So let me take you through my journey of choosing which RTX 5090 laptop to get. We do a lot of yapping here, so if you want to skip past this part and go straight to the laptop review, I've left us timestamp down below. But just to clarify to everyone that doesn't really use a gaming laptop, the RTX 5090 Mobile Edition, which is used for the laptop, is not nearly as powerful as a real RTX 5090. For example, the mobile 5090 only has 175 watts of max power draw, compared to the real size RTX 5090's 600 watts. And the mobile version only has 24 gigabytes of VRAM, while the real one has 32 gigabytes, mate, so it's not even close. But even still, mate, the 5090 Mobile right now is the best GPU money can buy for your laptop. It is definitely way too expensive compared to what it should be, mate, but like I said before, the weenie is an idiot and he wants this laptop, so he is gonna get it. Now, after endlessly scrolling through the laptop elitist threads on Reddit and watching reviews on YouTube, most enthusiasts usually clown the regular brands and turn to custom-built brands like XMG Neos, for example, but these things aren't available in America. Yes, I know my accent is Australia, mate, but I've been in America for 7 years and I'm stuck here for the time being. There are a few other companies that basically use the same chassis and have the same specs as the XMG but ship to America, such as Dream Machines and Electronics, for example. And their laptops even come with a custom water cooler, mate. But I can't be bothered with that. To be honest, I actually wanted to buy it in person so it would be easier to return. So we are sticking with the big box brands for this one, mate. Don't judge me. So after Hank finished all his research, it came down to about 5 different options. We had to rule out Razer because, again, we couldn't physically buy this in the store and it was the most expensive out of all of them, mate, and I ain't paying that Razer tax. Coming in first was the ASUS ROG Strix Scar. Beautiful looking laptop at around $4,000, which is absolutely criminal. Next up, we looked at the HP Omen Max, thinking it was available at Best Buy, but turns out you can only custom order the RTX 5090 for $3,500 off their website, so it was likely a no-go. Then there was the Dell Alienware 51, which was around $3,500 dues at the time, but we only saw it available in store at 18 inches. And this was followed up by another 18-inch laptop, the MSI Titan, reviewed as the most powerful laptop in the world, but an insane 4,300 spankers, mate. Absolutely not. And last but not least, the Lenovo Legion 7i, which was available in 16 inches, had great reviews, and was around $3,500 brand new. Now, if you're an OG on this channel, you know I've always preached, leave your country of origin, family, friends, and everyone else behind and move close to a Micro Center, mate. It is tech heaven for PC deals, and it has carried our flipping career, mate. But importantly, in this case, it has great laptop deals as well. Their open box section is divine, and their return policy is great, mate. So perfect for us to test a laptop out and make sure we like it, considering we haven't even used a Windows laptop before. And keep in mind, this is coming from a man who doesn't receive a single penny from Micro Center, mate. They have no idea who Hank is and don't sponsor us. Like I said, they've pretty much just built our PC flipping empire through their cheap deals, so we are happy to glaze them. So for months, we watched and waited on their open box deals, alongside Best Buy's open box deals as well, and Amazon warehouse resale, mate. And the reason why we use these three in particular is because we have a credit card for each of them, mate, and it gives us 5% cash back, so it effectively eliminates taxes for us. What a deal! But after waiting for what felt like an eternity, our prayers were finally answered. Micro Center had the ASUS ROG Strix Scar open box with 64 gigabytes of RAM and a 2TB M.2 for $3,599, mate, down from $4,000. Once again, even the price for this open box deal is absolutely insane, mate. Hank is such an idiot. He'd probably fare much better just getting the 5070 Ti laptop for around $2,000, mate, but he is an idiot. Stop judging him. To add on to our dread, for some reason, only the 5070 Ti versions and below come with Ryzen's 9955HX 3D, whereas the 5080 and 90 come with Intel, mate. We are so screwed. We were particularly excited for the Scar because most of the reviews said this was the best thing since sliced bread, so we jumped right on it. But there was one big problem. Micro Center only had the 18-inch version of this laptop, and in the past, we had only ever used a 14-inch laptop, mate. But we had a quick think about it, and we thought, 4 inches? That's tiny, mate. That's the size of my wiener. Dog's legs, mate. Get your mind out of the gutter. So here it is, baby. We got it home safe and sound. The box is beautiful and was in great condition, and opening this thing was an experience in itself. As you open it, the laptop literally gets lifted out of the box. Maybe if they didn't spend so much money on the laptop box and the presentation, they could sell these things for a reasonable price, mate. But anyway, we removed the monolithic structure, and the first thing I thought when I picked it up was, yeah, this thing is way too big and heavy to be carting around, mate. The only other thing in the box was this 380-watt charger, mate, and this thing in itself was heavier than a brick. The laptop by itself weighs a hefty 3.3 kilograms, which is 7.28 American Freedom pounds, and the charger adds another 1 kilogram on top of that. Now, because we are 225 pounds of pure muscle and can bench press 4.3 kilograms or 10 rock flag and eagle pounds in our sleep, we thought to ourselves, yeah, this would be no problem, mate, but with the way the weight is distributed in the laptop, it's an absolute slog to carry around, mate, so just prepare yourself. We got this $40 backpack off Amazon, and it was great. It made carrying the laptop, the charger, and everything else we take with us pretty simple, mate, so check it out if you're interested in the link down below. We open it up for the first time, and we have this screen protector on the inside, but it did feel a bit disappointing, mate. While the lid is aluminum and looks and feels great, the chassis is plastic and feels very cheap. It's apparently designed that way for better thermals, but mate, I'd rather my desk and lap just catch on fire for the aesthetics, mate. Get this cheap plastic off me. The other very annoying thing about this, which all the reviewers said, is that this thing is a fingerprint magnet. But apparently all of the laptops have this as well, so keep your hands out of the Cheetos bag when you are using it. And another very minor thing, which I was majorly disappointed in, is that these stickers aren't even centered properly, mate. When we turn this around, you can see they've gone to great lengths for presentation on the back of this thing with the big ROG Strix implanted on it for a part that you would never see otherwise, mate. Great job, ASUS. I'm sure that cost the customer another $200. But anyway, this is where the Strix Scar destroys every other laptop, mate, because all you have to do to get on the inside is just click this little hinge down the bottom, and then the back slides off and you have access to your M.2 and RAM, mate. So this is an absolutely beautiful touch. 10 out of 10. Both M.2/ slots support Gen 5 drives. But once again, ASUS is cheaping out on their premium laptop by only providing one Gen 4 2TB drive, which is pretty woeful if I'm being honest. But I digress, and we can't just leave that extra slot empty, mate. And we've already spent $3,600 on this laptop. So we thought, what the hell, let's make an even stupider decision and got this Samsung 9100 Pro 4TB Gen 5 drive for just over 400 US clamshells, mate. Again, do as I say, not as I do, mate. We have more dollars than cents in our pocket at the moment. For how much Gen 5 drives cost right now, the price to performance isn't worth it, but Hank wanted to go balls to the wall here, so let him have it. We just installed the M.2 in the secondary slot. It's completely toolless. Just throw it in and clip it into place, and Bob's your uncle, mate. My great-great-grandmother could take the back cover off and install this M.2 right now, and she passed in the late 1700s from the bubonic plague. So for people that aren't very tech savvy, this makes it much less intimidating, mate. Nice touch, ASUS. Next up, the RAM, mate. It comes with 64 gigabytes of RAM stock, more than enough for 99% of use cases, but easy to remove if necessary. You just push it down and it pops right out. So in total, the Scar gets a great score in terms of upgradability with its removable backplate. 10 out of 10, mate. We love this feature.
Very nice.
After installing Windows, we boot this up for the first time and we get a cool "For Those Who Dare" logo and a quick boot time, so not bad at all for $4,000, mate.
You disgust me.
What is actually wrong with us? When I say that out loud, it sounds crazy. Why did we buy this thing? And then straight after that, we're greeted with this super cool wallpaper, so thanks, ASUS. We weren't ripped off at all. I'm so glad we paid all our money on this. After using this laptop for about 3 hours, we already have fingerprints all over it. This is insane. The trackpad on this laptop is also huge, but if I'm honest, it feels terrible compared to a Mac trackpad. We daily drove this thing for a week. We couldn't get used to it. It felt terrible, mate. So it's not ideal, but this thing is basically a desktop replacement, so I'm guessing most people will use a mouse with this. Moving on, and we finally find why we're spending so much more money on ASUS compared to some of these other brands, mate, because the ARGB is seriously insane on this thing. It spans the entire underside of the chassis, and there is a huge ARGB ASUS logo on the back of it, mate, but the main feature you're paying $4,000 for is what they call Anime Vision Display. It's a monochromatic display strip on the back of the lid which can display either a preset or custom message or animation, which you can use in the ASUS Armory Crate software, mate. And as you can see right now, we set it to say Hank. Now, is this thing actually cool? Yeah, of course it is. If you're sitting in your parents' basement, or if you're 10 years old and bringing it to your friend's house for a LAN party, then they're all gonna see this thing and think, wow, mate, that is totally sick. But if you try pulling this baby out at work, school, or on a plane, you'll probably be thought of as the biggest virgin to have ever walked the face of the planet. But in saying that, Hank and I are the biggest virgins to ever have walked the face of the planet, mate, so we loved it if I'm being honest. But the problem is, Hank and I are the ones using the laptop, so we literally can't even see it, so what's the point? Moving on to performance, and as we mentioned before, this laptop is Team Blue, mate. It makes me sick. It uses Intel's new Core Ultra 9 275HX. Now, I can already hear you saying, but Weenie Man, Intel sucks and AMD is goated.
How come you don't want me, man?
And I tend to agree with you, mate. The 9955HX 3D processor does look amazing and scores slightly better than Intel, but right now it's only available in MSI's Titan 18-inch 5090 laptop, which is over $4,000. It is currently either sold out everywhere or upmarked like crazy. It is also available in Dream Machine and Electronics laptops as well, but looking online, these are all sold out right now as well, so we are stuck with Team Blue, mate. In saying that though, you may hate Intel personally, and they may be floundering at every corner when it comes to being a company, but analyzing the 275HX Ultra Core 9 in a vacuum, this thing is still a beast, mate. 24 cores and 24 threads. It has great reviews for productivity, which is largely what we're using this for, but as you'll see in our benchmarks, it still does great for gaming as well, mate, so no complaints for me on this end. The other thing ASUS has done, which I'll give them credit for, is use liquid metal to cool its components, but mate, you can throw a gaming laptop in liquid nitrogen and it would still run hot. We ran this baby on Furmark for 10 minutes to test the GPU temperatures, and surprisingly, it averaged 69 degrees. Nice. Which we love. The funny number. Furmark can also run the CPU at 100%, so we did this for 5 minutes, and this baby sat at around 100 degrees, mate.
You serious?
Hotter than the sun, and I know it sounds alarming, but this is normal for a gaming laptop, mate. It is also normal for most gaming laptops to sound like a jet engine, so here is the noise when running the GPU at full load. And here is the noise when running the CPU at full load as well, mate. So she is a loud boy. We clocked it at around 55 decibels, so get some good headphones if you're going to game on this thing. In terms of the laptop speakers, again, I do not have a huge amount of gaming laptop experience, so I can't tell you it sounds better or worse than others, but in general, to my ears, I wasn't a huge fan of these speakers, mate. Here is the footage of it playing an absolute banger of a song that we use in all of our videos. And here it is listening to the world's most famous PC building dogs YouTube channel.
Terrible news. Hank is officially broke. The fame has gone to his head and he spent his last $10 on this Costco hot dog with eyes. So we are taking his prized NVIDIA RTX 5080, which he miraculously scored at an MSRP of $900.
And finally, here it is playing Marvel Rivals. Again, we would rarely use the speakers on our laptop. We always use headphones, but yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan, mate. But as I've said, go to Jared's Tech and see how he rates these speakers compared to other gaming laptops. Moving on to the ports on this thing, ASUS tramples its competition. Many of these laptops, including those custom XMG, Dream Machine, and Electronics ones, do not have Thunderbolt 5 ports, mate, where this baby comes with 2 of them.
Nice.
It also has 3 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, 2.5 gigabyte LAN, and Wi-Fi 7. So it has the best ports money can buy, which is what you would hopefully expect on a gaming laptop of this price. But we can only give it an 8 out of 10 for the ports, mate, because even though it has everything, these ports used to be on the back side of the laptop, which was much better for cable management, but now they are on the side. Again, it seems like every laptop has moved to this to get better thermals, but mate, just let my laptop catch on fire and explode so I can manage my cables better. Next up, we have the screen, mate. Quite an interesting selection here. They have gone with 240 Hz 1440p display. Now, we wanted to go with 4K, but 99% of these 5090 laptops are 1440p, mate. It makes me sick. I don't know why they don't go with 4K, particularly with FrameGen and DLSS 4 being able to run super high refresh rates even at 4K these days. Oh wait, I do know, mate. It's because these companies are ripping you off and want unlimited profits. Anyway, rather than going with a glossy OLED screen like you see on the Lenovo Legion, they have gone with a mini LED display. It has tremendous peak brightness and gets rave reviews from all tech tubers, but we tested the Legion's OLED screen in store, and to me, it looks 1 million times better than this mini LED screen for normal use cases. It wasn't even close. For gaming, as you'll see, the screen was fine, mate. We did enjoy it, but I prefer OLED if I'm being honest. Brightness be damned. Moving on to the performance, mate, and we mainly got this laptop for video editing with Premiere Pro, and a very annoying thing with all Windows laptops is that if it's not plugged in, the laptop turns into an actual potato, mate. It decreases its power draw from the GPU and CPU, and therefore its performance is significantly limited. We did try editing this video on a plane, and as long as we scale down the videos using a proxy, it worked fine, even when not plugged in. But once it's plugged in, mate, this thing worked absolutely great, very smooth, no lag whatsoever, and it rendered this 4K video that you're watching right now in under 20 minutes perfectly, mate, so we were happy with it. Now, if you're looking for an exclusive video editing laptop and you don't care about gaming, the M4 Max Mac absolutely crushes this thing according to reviews. Not only does it render faster, but you can also use it at full power with it unplugged, and it has much better battery life, so keep that in mind, mate. We've linked a video down below discussing the battery life of the Scar 18 in detail, but it's basically middle of the pack compared to other laptops in this 5090 category, mate, so not good, but not the best. So finally, we move to gaming performance. Again, this thing will not beat the normal RTX 5090. It won't even come close, mate. I don't even think it'll beat the RTX 5080, and if you're interested in seeing how it benchmarks compared to it, I'm happy to do a full benchmark comparing the laptop to the RTX 5080, mate, so let me know down below. But overall, I thought it was a great playing experience, mate. No complaints on my end. Now, once again, get headphones, mate. As you can hear, it sounds like a jet engine with the sound off, but here it is with the laptop volume turned all the way up. So it is bearable, but when I threw the head things on, I was able to play it without hearing the laptop, mate, so not bad at all. We are starting with Marvel Rivals, cranking everything to ultra graphics and no upscaling or frame gen, and she played great, mate. Now, no one would ever play a competitive multiplayer games at these settings, but we wanted to test its max raw performance, so just bear with me. It averaged around 70 frames per second, and it looked gorgeous, mate. We'd average around 160 to 170 watts of power draw from the GPU, so not the full 175, but it is better than some other laptops that we've seen. The temperatures are around around 75 to 78 degrees on the GPU and around 88 to 95 on the CPU, mate. Hotter than the sun, but average for a 5090 laptop. But mate, we don't want to be sitting at 70 frames per second for the rest of our life. We want to hit the full 240 Hz for this mini LED screen to do its thing. So we kept everything set to ultra and ray tracing still on, but we set DLSS to quality and we set frame generation to 4x, and we are sitting at over 300 FPS, mate. And I know everyone poo-poos frame generation and fake frames, mate, but for Marvel Rivals, there wasn't hugely noticeable input delay, and there wasn't any weird artifacting as well, mate. It actually played pretty well. The game ran smooth, and importantly, we were taking souls out there, mate. We were healing our teammates as best we could, embodying the opponents, and we did so well that we got the MVP with Hank's doppelganger, Jeff. Look at him, mate. He's literally the spitting image. So can you play Marvel Rivals at 240 Hz ultra settings on this laptop? Yes, you can. Do you have to use Jensen's fake frames? Also yes. But can you get the MVP? Hell yeah, mate. Let's go.
Give me a hell yeah.
Moving on to Fortnite, you can play this thing on a potato, so I wasn't expecting any problems, and this laptop delivered. We played on performance mode on DirectX 12, so everything's set to low, but view distance set to epic and DLSS set to performance, and mate, average frame rate of 240 FPS, great 1% lows, felt as smooth as my bulb mate Steven's head. But we were running into some serious sweats in this game, mate, just getting dominated left, right, and center. The 18-inch screen was good to play on. I'm used to playing on a 42-inch OLED LG TV, which we use as my main monitor for my main gaming rig, but no complaints here, mate. And while the mini LED screen gets great reviews, I still don't think it's nearly as good as OLED, so keep that in mind when you're looking for a gaming laptop. Next up, we played the finals. This was the first time ever playing Team Deathmatch on this as opposed to playing other game modes, and it was intense, but it played great on high settings, upscaling set to quality and no frame gen, around 120 frames per second, great temperatures on the CPU and GPU for a gaming laptop. I forgot to turn the frame generation on and see if we can get this cranked to 240 Hz, so I do apologize, but we didn't need it, mate. 13 eliminations and most damage on our team and a cheeky victory. High FPS be damned, we are a 30-year-old man-child crushing 10-year-olds using our gaming laptop with anime vision screaming Hank's name. What a time to be alive. Last but not least, Call of Duty Warzone starting at 1440p ultra graphics with upscaling set to quality, mate. She looked fantastic, felt fantastic, and was giving us roughly 130 frames per second averages. The 1% lows were great, so it was very smooth. It was very playable, mate. If you want to hit 240 Hz refresh rate, you need to turn frame generation on, but you can still keep the graphics to ultra. There is a bit more latency on Call of Duty Warzone when moving, but overall, we are still a menace on the sniper with these settings, and that's saying something because we are seriously booty at this game. This was the last game that we played on the laptop. We had been playing for around 3 to 4 hours at this point, and the CPU was bouncing between 80 to 95 degrees, and the GPU was around 80. So if this was a normal computer, you'd be panicking, but for a gaming laptop, we will take it. While we were playing the game, we were also recording all of the footage on the laptop, mate, and there was no stuttering or lagging whatsoever, and the footage turned out great as well, so keep that in mind if you're a streamer or a recorder. So now we get to the conclusion, mate. Should you buy this thing for $3,600? Now, for my opinion, for my particular use case, unfortunately not.
Wow.
I didn't have a problem with the laptop overall. It performed great in Premiere Pro and at rendering, but it's just too large and too heavy for my use case, mate. I like to work on airplanes and in public, and I have to take it in and out of my bag every single day, and it was just too much for this 18-inch laptop. The ARGB and anime vision is cool, but it's just very gimmicky, and while Hank is a 5-year-old virgin who's never seen a female dog in his life, it's just too out there to use in public. If you're just going to use this thing as a desktop replacement that you want to be able to take to your friend's house for gaming, or take it to work and have it set up for multiple days where you can just plonk this thing on a desk, it works great. And as I've said, the backpack that we got made carrying it around very easy, but overall the size was just too large for us and the aesthetics was just too much for what we liked, mate. We wanted it to look a bit more professional. We did also have some problems with this bad boy. We were unable to install a boot drive on any other M.2 besides the 2TB Gen 4 it came with. We tried for 2 hours to get it on the Gen 5 drive just to see if it would be faster during booting and load times as well, but it would not recognize the drive during Windows installation. Even if we pre-installed Windows on the Gen 5 drive, it wouldn't work as well. It just would not recognize it unless we put that 2TB drive in that it came with. We also had issues with the ARGB. Sometimes it would work great, other times it would just be stuck on this light blue color that you can see here. If we would go into the Armory Crate software or try and change it on the keyboard to rainbow or any other color, it would not change at all. As you can see, we have it working for some of the videos. We had to reset the PC 5 times before it worked. We went and updated all of the drivers, reinstalled Armory Crate, and nothing, mate. And we went on Reddit and saw that other people have this issue as well, so not ideal from your $4,000 laptop. The last concern is that Steve from Gamers Nexus just did a deep dive on some of the problems with ASUS with regards to privacy for some of their softwares. Now, this is very apparent for Armory Crate, and you basically need it to run this laptop at its best performance, and also to alter its ARGB and its anime vision display, mate. And if I can't put Hank's name on the back of this thing, then I don't want it. So alas, we are packing this thing back into the box, and she's going to Micro Center, mate. We will miss being able to have Hank's name plastered on the back of this thing at all times, and having the rainbow puke ARGB being blasted into our face, but for 3,600 bucks, it's not happening, mate.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Especially right now that Micro Center is having huge sales with Legion, Alienware, and MSI are all falling to around 3,000 bucks, mate, and have higher clocked RAM timings and OLED displays, so I think we're gonna try one of those out. So let me know down below, did you like this video? We're gonna be getting another laptop soon, so if you did like it, get this video to 300 likes if you wanna see part 2. If you have any questions about this laptop, our buying experience, or anything else I've missed, let me know down below. Otherwise, get out of here, mate. Me and the weenie love ya. Goodbye.